Welcome to the DevReady podcast. Joining me on the DevReady podcast today, I have Tahreem Shah. I haven't met Tahreem before, so this will be a first for everyone listening, just like it is myself. Tahreem, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Anthony, and nice to meet you finally.
Yes, it is. It's been a few reschedules to get this going. It's quite early in the morning, so I apologize for that again. But what I'll do, I'll let you take it away and introduce yourself and who you are.
Sure, great. Thank you so much. And yeah, Anthony, it's actually 6 a.m. I'm currently in Dubai, and prior to this, I was in Singapore. But I'm a Bangladeshi by heart, and I am like, hi everyone, I'm Tahreem Shah, and I am a architect by trade and a social entrepreneur by passion. It's been 7 years I have been working in this field at the intersection of design, business, and technology. Currently, I'm working as a regional business advisor at Odoo, which is one of the top ERP solutions globally. It's a Belgian-based company, 20 years in the business, right? And at the same time, I am building a tech product, which is very close to my heart, a business AI co-pilot called Scaler with my co-founder, John, whom I met at the Antler VC program in Singapore sometime in the middle of last year. And other than this, I feel like I'm a loving sister. I was a loving daughter because I lost my dad sometime at the last of last year. And I think my entire journey is kind of dedicated towards him, the concept of parallel profession and whatnot. And finally, I would love to kind of reflect on the fact that other than building and being in tech sales, I believe in giving back. So I do have a few courses that I'm taking, which I call Navigating Career Choice for young kids who are starting for their university or just ended their school. And that course is actually vetted under Tufts University. I have taught it in Netherlands Emphasis Events, Huawei Tech's Women in Tech event, and I kind of help the marginalized community as well as someone who just want to start their journey without any knowledge to know where to do it in tech without being someone from the tech background. So that's kind of like an overview of who I am and what I do. So yeah.
Okay. It's quite a bit there to unpack. It's again, sorry about your father passing. With
Or-
your journey, so what got you to the point of saying joining Antler?
That has been the pivotal point for me because see, coming from Bangladesh, I don't know how many of you guys know where it's located. We are not part of India. We're not part of Pakistan, all right? We are there, a small little country, but highly dense. We're one of the most populated country in the world. I think number 8, right? And our
Oh
capital
wow.
city, Dhaka, is actually even more populated. We have, I think, 175 million people itself. All right. So, coming from a country which is in the subcontinent, being a young female professional over there, wanting to work in tech, thinking of a global perspective, it was getting very difficult. There were challenges from making a space to even learning and getting things going. So, fortunately, my first job was actually in Norway, where I was an architectural intern in middle of my graduation, right? And that's when I was for the first time exposed to a world which, say, did not think of architecture as building boundaries, right? It thought of architecture as human-centric design, socially responsive architecture, and whatnot. And it inspired me so much. I think 8 years ago, I guess, that I was like, all right, I kind of need to see what's beyond Bangladesh, what's beyond my capacity. I need to test that limit and, aim for the stars. So I have been building my third venture right now, but prior to that, I have built two other ventures. The first being a social business. It's a fintech for females called Borusha. That means trust in English. It was like a Bumble matchmaking platform for females in informal economy to get matched with the right kind of jobs, right? They don't have to settle being a maid or a garments worker, which is very common in Bangladesh where females are getting $100. My second venture was a health tech, Uber for diagnostics. So the Uber for diagnostic model, I was doing it with two other co-founders, and we were doing it pretty well in the capital city, where me as the head of growth had a 16x month-over-month growth, and we opened our seed round and kind of took the technology outside Bangladesh to Southeast Asia, specifically say Indonesia. That's when I got exposed to the Singaporean startup culture and ecosystem, and I kind of realized that okay, things move fast here, things move with innovation, things move with sincerity. Like you will get the ROI of the work that you are putting in. So that happened in 2023. And once that happened, I was like, okay, I think I have built for Bangladesh, I have built with others. It's time for me to start something of my own, which will be a global product or on a global level. How do I do that? And that's when I applied for Antler in the mid of last year, I think in May. And after two vigorous round of interview, I got selected with 60 plus other founders globally. And that's where we met in Singapore in our Entrepreneur in Residence program for 3 months. I would love to share the links or help someone even apply for it, in the process.
Yep. Okay. So you would have had, I'm guessing, a big shock going from the Bangladesh tech scene to Singapore. I'm guessing they're
Absolutely.
very polarizing, probably in industries and areas
The
to be in.
learning curve has been.
Yeah, because people don't associate technology with Bangladesh. It's most people will just assume it's like I think people assume it's a third world country
Yes, of
in the
course.
way that
We're
they classify
developing.
it. But yeah, there wouldn't be much tech there, or developing countries, probably a better way to put it. Apologies, but it's probably there. I don't think of tech when I think of Bangladesh. So
Of
how
course.
was that journey in building local tech products for you?
Okay, so I think there are two things to this, all right? So Bangladesh is more heavy on tech-driven products. You will see this kind of like a similarity with the startups in India and Bangladesh, but Indian startups have kind of upskilled or up-leveled, but Bangladesh startups kind of couldn't do it because of not because of talented people, or they haven't been innovative enough because of, say, a lot of policy level or infrastructure level issues. That's like a different discussion, right? But the top 10, top 5 startups in Bangladesh were always tech driven. And then for them to kind of build local and go global, they had to, get acquired or come together and work with, not just their investors, but with other startups who have footprint in other parts of the world. For example, the first acquisition that took place in Bangladesh happened, I think, in the beginning of this year. It's called ShopUp, right? They have merged with this Saudi startup in e-com, and they have kind of expanded their business and raised a good and hefty amount of money from
Okay.
some top investors, right? And that itself happened after 7 years in the business. The speed or the level of how things happen in Silicon Valley or even in Singapore, which is like the mini
Yep.
Silicon Valley, right? You cannot find similar pulse. But the founders have strived, they're like, okay, we are going to make this happen. But how many
Yep.
would you see doing it, right? According
Yeah,
to
not
Index,
many.
I think there are 4,000 startups in Bangladesh, but trust me, we don't see them. For me,
When there's a very heavily populated country, it's going to be hard. Like 4,000 is a very, very small
yeah, but then
percentage.
again, you can just say 5 names and then one being outside Bangladesh to do what they're doing or kind of rolling it out outside
Okay.
Bangladesh. So that statistics itself is kind of scary. So which is why I think a lot of us founder friends kind of took that step that, okay, guys, it's time to build or start local and then go global, because we are able to do that. I have a friend currently who sold off one of his fintech, and he's traveling between Sri Lanka, Indonesia, Philippines to actually kind of figure out how he can work with global companies and also roll out his ideas, right?
Mhm.
It has started. We are capable of doing it. So for me, it was similar to that. So when I met my co-founder, John, who is an ex-Google guy, a software engineer over there, like in his past experience. He also worked in private equity, hedge funds. I think he has more than a decade of experience in data engineering, but none in starting his own business. So when he met me, he had things to learn, and when I met him, I had a lot of things to learn
Yep.
in tech. And I think that 3 months initially was intensive learning, because all of these things I was getting exposed to would not even be taught in universities back home. Like
Oh, of
that's the
course not.
level, that's the level of technological intervention I had. And I think it has been quite rewarding, because now my job is also centered around tech sales, and I kind of understand the difference between, say, features and value proposition with the tech that you're building, right?
Mhm.
So it has been quite great, I would say, and maybe we can dig in deeper as we
Yeah.
go by.
So one thing that probably stands out in that is with a small amount of founders there in Bangladesh. So we're based in Australia. And we're only a population, I think, 24 million in the entire
Yeah, I
country
know. I have so many
recently.
friends. Sydney.
Yeah. So they say when you're doing a startup here, it's a good testing ground to get something ironed out and working before you go to a larger market. In Bangladesh, you've just got the larger market immediately. So imagine that if you do find that product market fit, you get that scale very quickly.
So I think there's two, actually, there are like few angles to it. I would want to reflect too, all right?
Yep.
Businesses are always profitable in Bangladesh. So,
Okay.
in the sense that my prior startup, which was a health tech, it was operational profitable. It was tech
Hmm.
driven. We did not have an entire technology platform where there was like automations and AI driven and whatnot. We need not need to do that. A little intervention made that happen. So a small difference between digitization and tech enabled or a tech company created the difference. So you would be able to work on products or services which is Bangladesh market fit or demographic fit, which maximum you could kind of replicate in say Indonesia, which has a similar demography, but maybe that
Yep.
would not work out in rest of the world, or your TG cannot be the entire world, right? So
Yep.
you kind of get limited with that. So that scale that you're talking about can be done in Bangladesh from the profitable or non-profitable angle or similar demographic country. But if you think
Hmm.
about the global scale up, it's not that possible. You cannot find another country which is this small, this dense, and people are not digitized. When I
Yep.
say digitized, I'm kind of emphasizing on it because using a phone for using Facebook is not the same as being able to get into an app and
Yes. Yeah.
ordering
Correct.
say something.
Yeah. And
Right.
in Bangladesh and a lot of say Southeast Asia, a phone is the only computing device people ever have. There's no laptops. There's no computers. They're buying minutes still. There's probably not much data, and there's probably still a large portion of the population that doesn't even have phones because they don't need it. They're rural. They're farming, agriculture.
Exactly. So I think Vietnam kind of have been trying to crack that portion of people that okay, even if you don't have phone, what else can you do? I think
Hmm.
a lot has to do with literacy rate and political stability and so many other things. So yeah, I think there are a lot of other factors because I think the top five startups in Bangladesh itself is actually agri-tech, then transport tech, and then e-com, of course. So that kind
Yeah.
of you can kind of understand what's the mesh like,
Yeah,
right?
it's servicing the needs of the people that are there. It's not building a product that may be useful in a very well developed country because they haven't got the infrastructure, technology, or the support there for that as well.
Yeah,
It's an interesting position because you may get a large number of users initially to get you to that scale. You can prove that it's a profitable business, and then you've got that stepping point to then take it off. You've got market fit in this market, but then how do you adapt it to another market, which is then introducing new challenges again?
exactly. So my
Yeah.
first startup was actually that. For example, because is I wouldn't call it a startup anymore, right? It has turned into an MNC. It got funded by SoftBank, I think, 5 years ago or something. It's in the market for more than 10 years. So when Bikash started the first fintech, they actually started with how the button phone had a
Yep.
USSD with like *247 hash kind of a thing,
Yep.
and people didn't even have the concept of sending money from phone to phone, and especially this MSMEs, small business owners. And that itself took a lot of human intervention. Like humans had to be placed in different locations with a button phone and a lot of like write ups and everything for them to come and do that. So their marketing or their initial market penetration took years. And once that happened, once people got used to it now, sending Bikash money even across the countries pretty easy. You can even do it through Revolut. You can
Hmm.
do it through DBS Bank in Singapore, and it's just smooth right now. And now there is an app, and the app is quite robust. Now you can like invest, blah blah blah, and do so many things. So the tactic has been quite exemplary for us. So I kind of replicated that model in my first startup or my first social business, where when I was trying to place a job for these blue collar job holder females, I knew that at least 66% of the population of females in the informal settlement, the largest one in Dhaka, was using smartphone. But if I had
Yeah.
agents in the entry or exit points of that settlement, I could kind of leverage on the agent for them to get on the platform and then get connected to the jobs rather than depending on them to download an app or do it on their own, you
Yeah.
know? So this kind
It
of
becomes,
strategies needed
yeah,
to
it's
be
an
done.
education piece as part of your marketing, not just promotion, but a very heavy education component to
Exactly.
get people to learn what's there, what's possible, especially if they've never been exposed to it.
Exactly. And I think this is also kind of like a work on the product itself. It might not be really a tech development or you're not adding a new feature, but you're also kind of understanding how your product has a market fit. You're testing the water.
Yeah.
So,
And that's important because then if you don't get that in your market that you understand well, going out to scale, there's something's very like, it's a very hyper local service, that one, or a very specialized service. So unless you get that right and that product market fit, you're not going to understand how to take that to another market.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah. So did you exit that business?
So that has a sad story. No.
Oh,
Porsche was very close to my heart. I started with my friend. She herself is now working as a sustainable business analyst at PwC. So she is a survivor of the terrorist attack that happened in Bangladesh.
oh
And
no.
after that, it hasn't been easy for her to be back in the entrepreneurial journey. She has been taking some back step, front step. We did make two milestone. Barsha is one of the top 20 in social businesses globally. I'm a global Unison Youth Fellow for it.
Hmm.
Second is we made it to Unleash. We were supposed to pitch it at Dragon's Den in India, but that's
Oh wow.
when we decided whether as founders we wanted to move forward with this or not because I didn't want to move forward without her. I
Yep.
believe in co-building. I don't believe in, say, a founder just doing what they want to do, and especially for money, because
Hmm.
money is something that comes when you're always trying to solve a problem. That's how it has been in my life, be it for job or a business. But how ready am I? That might be my emotional maturity, that might be my skill level, or whatsoever. So when she decided that she needs a bit of like, break or she was a bit indecisive, I kind of put Portia on pause. And it's still on pause and I do intend to get back to it when it's time. So yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a bit of ups and downs there in that story, but hopefully you can then return with your friend and turn that into sort of the vision that you always had with it.
Exactly.
So
I would.
going to the middle of last year, you had a rough idea for doing something. Did you know what the business was before you joined Antler, or was it in that 3 month period that's where you sort of identified the problem with your co-founder? I think it was John. You said.
And that journey is very similar to what we were discussing right now. So I
Okay.
did have an idea when I was joining. The idea being, again, very tech-driven solution coming from Bangladesh and how I could make that happen. So our first idea was called actually Orchard, which was mine to solve in the sense that, okay, you know how Singapore has that road called Orchard
Yep.
Road,
Orchard Road.
which
Yep.
has all the brands, right? But
Hmm.
what if we didn't always have to buy from brands and we had that level of quality clothings coming in for us, and we
Hmm.
could check it through using, say, AI and other technology that's there, because Bangladesh being one of the top garments exporter. I don't know how much you know about it, but we do have all the top level factories that is connected to, say, Zara, Ralph Lauren, and whatnot.
Yep.
So you can
Yeah,
get
I've
those
seen the name
quality
made in
t-shirts.
Bangladesh on quite a few
Right,
labels.
exactly. You will see the H&Ms made in Bangladesh. So you can get t-shirts, polo t-shirts specifically black color without the logo on it, and you
Hmm.
can actually bring it to, say, Singapore or other places. So our initial idea was actually on that in the first week. Me and John, after we met, we were like thinking, okay, how we can work on this because, see, John's an American in heart, right? He's a Boston-based guy,
Hmm.
but his ethnicity is actually he's from Ghana. So he has
Okay.
that, like cocoa field and whatnot going on back in his home. And he's like, what can we do to kind of, leverage the privilege that we have because we both come from some strong background, right? And now we are
Hmm.
here. So we were working on that. We pitched it, I think, in the first two boot camps. And that's when Antler was very direct to us, like, especially our mentor. I think Rufus was there. He was like, guys, we cannot limit ourselves thinking only for the subcontinent or Singapore or Indonesia or Bangladesh. We have to build a global product because right now technology is here. You guys are thinking here. It's not about where the hypotheses are for investment for founders, but if you would come with this idea, say 5 years ago, then I could have let you guys roll this. But now, 5 years later, we're thinking of what's going to be there after 5 years. So you guys
Yeah.
have to have the cutting edge technology that you need right now. So we kind of scrap it up, like, throw it in the side and then
Yep.
started working on Scalar. Even Scalar had two other versions, by the way. So
Oh, you never. Your first idea is never the one you go with. It takes time to evolve and understand
of
something, and
course,
you have to
and even
work
if it
through
means
it.
pivoting completely, like throwing it away.
Yeah, I listened to a few Y Combinator podcasts of the past couple of weeks, and they say they get people in, and then in 2 weeks they either the person gets over the idea or doesn't work on it, or they think that they find there's no value and they have to pivot. Otherwise, they have to leave the program. So it does happen. It's very rare to have an idea that works the first time you have it. Like
Yeah,
a paperclip is a paperclip. It was designed right perfectly the first time, but that's
yeah,
very, very rare.
yeah. That's there.
So
So,
what
please.
was the evolution to Scalar?
Um, it was interesting because what I think happened was the fact that, see, my position in companies were always head of growth or chief revenue officer or CEO, someone who's trying to crack the numbers, right? Like,
Hmm.
okay, how do I move to a certain level where I don't have to be dependent on investment money? Maybe because I come from Bangladesh, maybe because I come from a very business heavy background family as well. I always think of, business. Okay, how can I like invest 10 taka and, bring out 20 taka, the currency being taka in
Yep.
Bangladesh, right? So, sorry, taka being the currency in Bangladesh.
Yep.
So now the thing is, when we scraped that idea, we were thinking what sort of technology we can build. We kind of thought that, okay, John is a very technical guy, right? Maybe he
Hmm.
doesn't speak business. And then I'm a very business person. I don't speak technical. How can we, change technical insights into business insights? How can we make this communication between both of us as easy as, say, pressing few buttons? Where we don't
Okay.
have to sit with the tech team multiple times and asking about their devs team, how much they have done, or this I don't know, Scrum, whatever they have done over there. When am I gonna get the first shipment of my product? Because my
Yep.
investor is breathing on my head, and my numbers need to be 10,000 users, 1,000 users, whatnot. On the other hand, I kind of cannot sit and make my tech lead or my tech team understand that, okay, we are leaking this much dollars every single day because we are hiring one developer after another, front end, back end, UI, UX, and whatnot. That, guys, we are like not being cost optimized, and we are definitely not maximizing our revenue. There's a huge disconnect. So when we thought of that, that itself was a great vision to work on for both me and John, because I think we were thinking of a journey not just within Antler or just after Antler or even just raising money. We had a vision for, like, say, what could happen in the next 5 years. Are we trying to revolutionize something? Because initial stage, we would definitely want to bootstrap. We did get a lot of offers of getting money or pitching in places, but we're still bootstrapping, both of us, right? And that's when we decided to come up with Scalar, which is a business AI copilot. Someone like me, whose experiences were put into the platform as a research to understand how you can communicate with your data to crack the right kind of model or right kind of ways for the business to expand. For example, when we started doing our research, we realized that people didn't want to save cost from AWS
Hmm.
server and whatnot. They thought they want to do that, which might be a bit of a money to save the cost and move forward. But the
Yep.
bigger vision was when people could kind of understand that, okay, their business is at certain stage right now. They're at, say, seed level or pre-seed, I wouldn't say pre-seed, pre-series A level, and now they need to expand with their users. and they need to raise money as well. But how much do they need to raise? How much do they need to expand? What is their product market fit happening? If you could converse with your data in Excel, or if you had a central intelligence platform where your CXOs are conversing with each other, a better contextual version of ChatGPT, how would that look like? We don't really know what the technology would look like. Maybe that's where the R&D takes place. But if that could happen, then a lot of things could unfold. And I think after we started working on this idea in the end of November, by the time it was Feb, Manus.ai came out. Gemini became much more contextual. Things were moving in that angle. And John
Yeah.
was like, that dude, we are in the right track. We are trying to converse with our data, and it's nothing new. Everyone's trying to do that. So which kind of gave us a certain validation as well. We have a certain competitive advantage in the space too. So that's how I think it was born. And I think still we're iterating. It's very early stage. Maybe 1 year from now, when we touch base again, you kind of would see a very robust kind of a product. And I will definitely keep you updated. We're shipping
Yep.
our product sometime next week. So yeah.
Okay. So what's the first a beta version of the product that you're releasing?
Oh yeah, that's actually a good question. So we are releasing the first version where you are able to talk and say that, okay, I need to kind of get the cost versus revenue document from the data that I'm uploading, and kind of tell me what I need to do as setting up the first few meetings with XYZ for this and that. So it's going to tell me what I need to do. And as John says it, that first we're trying to actually leverage the AI agent, who are not going to probably make the task happen, but rather tell me how I'm going to prioritize my task. So say if I need to make a cost versus revenue tracker, it's going to tell me based on my business whether it's important or not first, second, how I'm going to do it. And this is going to be in the very contextual way, not just in a way where say ChatGPT is giving out generic information. First. Second is we are really working on the data due diligence part. So we kind of want to not make the person feel like they're sharing too much data and it's not protected. So we got a collaboration going on with the Data Island that has been part of a research under U of T, University of Toronto, under this professor who has his PhD done in AI. So he found our startup, he found another startup where he found a synergy, and we could probably work on data annotation and data due diligence on a policy level where we are working with ethical data, right? Because we're going to take in people's information.
Yep.
So we kind of want to crack that as well when we're trying to converse and give the contextual information to each individual, the CXOs of a company per se, right? So yeah,
Yep.
that's
So
the
that's
introduction.
cool that you've got that collaboration option and someone's found you and some synergies that you can work together, because now you'll have a bit more robust product offering, and probably they're bringing in an opinion that you wouldn't have had before as well. So you're getting another viewpoint there. How was that moment as those new platforms were coming out and seeing the rate of change in the models with how much better they improve, or how they improve in their ability to respond? Because now you don't have to build the tech as much. Like, you don't have to build your own model. That's an
Right.
experience we're going through ourselves. They're improving in their own rate. So it's just, how do you leverage it faster?
Exactly. So I still remember when me and John pitched in November 21st, we said that we were going to make our own tech, our own intelligence platform, our
Yep.
own model. John was like very like, yeah, we're going to build our own model. And then fast forward just 3 months, he's like, dude, we don't need to do that. It's all out
Yeah,
there. We just
everything
need to leverage
changed.
like the stack,
Like,
which is going to build
yeah,
that.
even because I'm a developer originally and owner in the business, but up until like December, the AI wasn't very good at coding. And then it's
Exactly.
just completely in a new world now. 3 months
Yeah,
ago, it was in a new world, and it's another new world again already with these agent
exactly.
tools that are being developed. So it's amazing that, yeah, there's a lot of businesses that are like riding the wave of AI, and then as the wave gets bigger, you just have to figure out how to keep on top, to keep
Yeah.
moving with it, I think.
Yeah, there's something called, I think, the model context, which is like, with each answer, there are like the probabilities of different answer. And then with like with those answers, you kind of have to figure that out. So he's currently working on that model context mapping, how
Okay.
that can be done. Yeah.
Yep. That sounds like it's going to be an interesting challenge to try and solve and make the data secure, but while also providing sort of like an advisor to the business that you're chatting with who
Right.
understands your business, because even normal advisors don't understand your business to that level when they provide advice.
Right, exactly. He even said something like sometimes it doesn't even have to be the business, right? You kind of have to see that, okay, when you're talking to say Siri or Gemini or Bixby, you kind of don't know what and how you want to do things. The entire fact that you're actually knowing and then executing, that itself could be a game changer as well. But let's see where that
Yeah.
goes.
Well, it's going to be interesting to watch and see how this progresses.
Yeah, I hope so.
Knowing with your history and your product growth background, I'm sure you've got some good strategies there for marketing and growth. I wish you all the best of luck in that launch next week. Are you launching globally as the
Yes,
first product?
we are thinking of putting it in Play Store. So me and John, we were thinking of a name right now. So a thing that we both have been doing is that we want Scalar as the technology company, and
Yep.
then we want different products to be shipped. So this is a
Okay.
tactic that me and John, we feel like will work out for both of us through company formation and, giving a certain ownership on products as
Hmm.
well. And we kind of have to work on the type of people we want to work with. So this is something that he
Yep.
always keeps on echoing, that a culture that he saw in Google and is now missing, that is finding the right kind of people to be onboarded and them having their own vision and getting that platform to build whatever they would want in a ethical and sincere way, right? So when we're thinking of the people who would be coming with us and working, the software engineers and others, we would want them to even ship a product if they would want to do it as well. So Scalar is going to be
Yep.
our technology company, and then the other products that we are trying to ship would have their own names. So currently we're
Yep.
working on a name, and it's very important for us, and especially John. So yeah.
Oh, it's not easy to pick names, especially now when you're trying to find a domain name as well. Everything's
Exactly.
taken. I'm
Yeah.
sure you've had that experience, and
Everything is
it's always
expensive or taken.
it is. Yep. And it's important to have the right people coming along the journey with you, because
Exactly.
that's how you get the most out of everyone that's involved and the most out of the product.
A
Yeah.
common mistake that everyone does, and I have seen, like you were even telling me, Anthony, that to like probably put out a mistake that I learned from. Uh, Founders think that they need money to do something. The moment money comes in, they feel like, okay, I would be able to do one, two, three, four, or something great. That never happens. Second is the fact that the moment they get the money, they feel like, oh, next I gotta like hire people and then get an office. But no,
Yeah.
that's also not how it happens. So this is something that I've been really trying to teach the young kids, or
Hmm.
the aspiring kids, that guys, funding will come to you. Your VCs will be chasing you. You just got the solve the right kind of problem with the right kind of product that you're trying to build, or the
Yeah.
service, right?
And
So
that's
yeah,
key. To make sure you're solving an actual problem for people, and you
exactly.
will get customers. You will get market
Whoever
fit.
it
A
might
lot
be.
of a lot of people see the entrepreneurs and startups as like on social media. So there's a certain veil that they perceive that they need to be like. They don't understand that it's a lot of hard work to get to that. And if you have funding round, you don't just shift to bringing on new people. You have to start planning for the next funding round and working
Exactly.
towards that. So it's a different side of business that you have to run if you go down that model. But it
Exactly.
can be
Exactly.
exciting and it can get you to a different level much faster. That's the other thing. So it
Yeah.
depends how you want to take it.
But then again, you need to have that maturity to make it go faster as well. You need to know where your
Correct.
each dollar is going. So that I think needs a lot of experience, being
Yeah.
honest.
Not just fitting out an office. Well, Tahreem, it's been a pleasure speaking to you today, and thanks for joining me on the podcast.
Likewise.
If we'll add these notes, links to the show notes, but how can anyone reach out to you?
So I am extremely fast in replying through email. I always check it. Very unlikely of someone coming from Bangladesh, but Tahrim at scalar.io. You guys can definitely reach me over there, and I'm there in LinkedIn as well. Just Tahrim Shah. If you search it, I'm sure you're gonna get it. My
Yep.
profile's public, so yeah.
Okay. Well, once again, thank you for joining me on an episode of the DevReady podcast. It's a pleasure having you on, and wish you all the best of luck with your launch next week. I'll definitely
Thank you
keep an
for
eye on
having me, Anthony, and I'll keep you
it.
updated.
Thank you. Bye.